and it's up.
It looks live to me. I think we are. I see the live, at least on my screen. Hopefully everyone else does as well. I'm Christina Strong, the host for this hour of the Boston Poetry Marathon. And everything looks great so far. Thank you to our readers, and thank you to our viewers, and thank you to Bridget and Suzanne and Christina Liu, and well, I can't really thank myself. But thank you for the organizers that we've had so far. We had Gilmore Tammy, Daniel Pritchard, Tom Daly. We're going to have Douglas, Brendan Lorber. We're streaming to our Facebook page and Twitter and YouTube if you're into all that kind of stuff. You could go to the website at bostonpoetrymarathon.wordpress.com/watch. And this year we're doing a fundraiser because that's pretty cool. Racial justice in support of Black Lives Matter and stop Asian hate movements. And you could go to our website and please donate $10 or more. That's on my to-do list tonight. So I'm going to introduce the readers, and they're going to unmute themselves, or I will, or somebody will, so they could check the audio. And yes. So I'm going to go from the order that I see it, which is Casey.
Perfect. Hi.
Right.
Yeah. Awesome. Hi, I'm Casey. This is Juliet joining us as well. I am so grateful to the organizers, especially my friend Bridget, who I met at a Boston Poetry Marathon and a Jane Austen book club that she organized. And Juliet's really excited to be here, as you can see. Sometimes she sings during poetry readings, so if we're getting up all of a sudden or cutting my time short, that's why. And we will cry if we lose Corduroy. My mother passed last year, right around this time, August 24th. And I had just had Juliet, who is now 13 months, but at the time she was 8 weeks old. Okay. And I'm trying to write to that. So I have my safe poems, on my right-hand side, thinking that I should read those because they're polished. They were just published this spring. But I want to read you actually stuff I'm working on about my mom, trying to write to being a new mom myself and also becoming a motherless daughter and what that means. And again, I might only be able to read one. So, but thank you so much for having me. I've been loving hearing all the other readers, and I'm looking forward to hearing all of you. The word stable is so wrong, spoken by a doctor on the phone at 4 a.m. from Meriter Hospital in Madison, Wisconsin on a late summer night that's too beautiful, balmy. Stable at 4 a.m. sounds different than stable at 2 p.m., though both still quiver in their lies, like a child who knows better when a parent says it's fine, but their angry bodies say that it's not. On the phone again, a nurse speaks while I swerve through Chicago traffic and construction after driving through the night from Florida through rain and hallucinations of semi-trucks becoming angry, red-spitting tornadoes. I imagine the nurse on the phone eating roast beef or something else greasy, pausing to chew as she says words she probably says daily. Critically ill, ICU, visiting hours end at 9. Remember the flowers and balloons that you won't be able to take in the room because COVID, but it gives you something to do. Remember the pictures of the baby and the cards you meant to send that have been sitting in your front seat. Bring the lavender chamomile massage oil for her cracked, unmoving, stiff feet. Buy a Cobb salad for later from the grocery on Washington with a view of the Capitol, even if you can't eat. Don't think about those little boxes of variety cereal. Walk past them fast, that you used to eat with little cartons of milk up north, Blue Lake, Wisconsin. Don't think about Fort Atkinson. But of course I think about Fort Atkinson, smell the town on all of my clothes that I wash and wash and wash, then throw. I keep picturing this scene, the wasps. She wasn't even allergic, I say to no one. The balloon is Minnie Mouse. The flowers are already wilting. She was packing, I tell the cashier, moving down to Florida to be with me, to help me with the baby. She was just moving a TV, an old TV, into the back of her new red Jeep. She had just retired. I shake my head. Wasps, I say again, and realize I'm sobbing. Sorry to hear. At least it's not COVID though, she says, and looks to the line of customers. No one knows what to say. Paper or plastic? The hospital walls are muted by age and mismatched on each floor. Maroon for the first 4 rooms, then blue, then white. I feel sorry for the patients without any color in their rooms. Someone who doesn't know me, doesn't know her, is saying, just make her comfortable, saying it softly, pleading, adjusting the tubing that's keeping her breathing. Monitors beep and lights flash, and I'm worried about my 8-week-old baby in a hotel room in downtown Madison. The summer of 2020, and the news shows COVID again is surging after the breaking news of a downtown shooting. Plastic cones tug on my red nipples. Will the rooms be painted soon? I want to ask. My mouth is open to speak, but he can't see me with my mask, so he leaves. And the machines and my mother continue to heave, trying to breathe. I hate those hospital blankets, the thin ones, but the thick handmade donated ones too, and the plastic cups of coffee, Goodwill drop-offs, estates, living wills, end-of-life support. We enter the family conference room and the family meeting. Monday, August 24th, 1:44 p.m., a time that can change everything. I meet the nurse who was eating. I expect to scream. I don't. We talk about roast beef. Mommy, you hear the med vac, consent for the tracheotomy, run the cooler of breast milk to the hospital parking garage, watch the sun rise and sink through the caged hospital window. You hide in hotel showers, pick at cold takeout, Google blood clots and strokes, peel bare legs from fake leather recliners, and you don't hear the word spoken, slow kidney failure, but you know. And yet she opens her eyes, wide, light, blue, like Juliet's. She opens her eyes every time she hears mommy. It was tempting to keep you alive. I'll never see those mismatched walls again, and somehow that's what I'm mourning. Maroon, white, blue, better for a daycare or basement of a church, somewhere to teach independence, free play.
Hey, Casey.
Thank you.
Thanks. Thank you so much, Casey Fallon. And Juliet, of course, yes. I liked how you were walking around. It was awesome. Next up is Sherry Kaplan.
Hi, thanks so much for having me, and thank you, Casey. You are a warrior. So I have some poems that are focused on breastfeeding. The first one is actually about, it features Sacagawea, and it's called Limnologist. So a limnologist measures the depth of water, and water babies are mythical figures in the Shoshone tradition. They were took the form of babies, and they lured people to their death in the water. Limnologist. Often, Sacagawea comes to me by the birches at Jamaica Pond, with my baby strapped to my chest, rowing her legs in the air, her bare toes like fireflies. I wonder how she sustained her son in a canoe, and if she heard water babies warbling, if her mind too was an empty spoon scooping a lake. Lone limnologist, afraid of dropping her meager tool. The next poem combines Marie Antoinette's pleasure dairy, which was a real thing, where she churned butter and milked cows, with the strange experience of breastfeeding. Pastoral. And thank you to Heather for helping me find the first line. I'm tempted to add a souring element to the milk white story in which my mind frolics. Bucolic French aristocrats taking turns churning, learning animal husbandry. While my mind swats away flies in a field where Marie Antoinette's favorite cow stands, my baby pins me to the chair, sucking for 20 minutes at a time. An hour slides into the bottle. Just call me empress of the butter yellow wingback. My mind a butterfly horde unsettled over lilac fuzz. She buzzes at the milk flower of my nipple. My mind, do I dare say what I see? The blade supple, flesh as lambskin, blood. I have spent too long with my chest caving in, neck in deference, watching her pull all the nectar of France from my body. And the next one is very much on the same theme. It's called Gold Buckle. Clouds in clumps mopping the sky, a wasp suckling at my nipple. I was in the gold buckle grass when they beheaded me. Their smeared faces broached the frame. A relief in a way, a necklace of strawberries. Time thunders and stomps on. Will my thoughts fertilize? No, they drip and condensate the bottle. Let me, let me. A series of ants persists over my nose. And this final poem is Breastfeeding the Museum. It's very new and unpolished. It's a partly true story. Yeah, that's all I'm going to say. Venus points her marble nipples at everyone's mouths. When my mother feeds me in the gallery, a security guard ticks his finger, calls her forbidden. I imagine the goddess turning to milk, spilling her torso, splattering the floor. One by one, marble nymphs liquefy. My baby head becomes the moon by which they tide. Our bench an island. The guard grows small, his protestations adrift. Milk dots appear on Tintoretto damsels. The paint smudges, the bathtub floods. The angels abandon their corners to drink. The painters turned off. Their brushes grow limp, crawl off. I drink my fill. I drink the marble, sip the paint. Angels feed my mother grapes and goat. She stands in the gallery like a performance artist. See, this is life. This. Thank you.
Thank you, Sherry Kaplan. Next up is Pedro Poitevin.
Hi, everybody. Thank you, Sherry, for that wonderful last supposedly unpolished poem. That was beautiful. I want to read first a sonnet in which I experiment with something that I call palindromic rhyme. So the rhymes are, the pairs of words are palindromes of each other. And it is called Beneath the Bedroom Skylight. Scanning the sky this way and that to keep the light those distant galaxies emit, we sense our insignificance, how time dissolves like snow on seawater. We peek beyond Andromeda and dream a wolf gazes at us with quasar eyes and loops around while night unwinds the cosmic spool. We lie intent on stillness, but still flow. We seem to stay together, but we part. And as we spiral into mindless doom, our fingers meet and weave a mellow mood that thaws the rim of Morpheus' strap. Your index leads the way through clouds and peels away the layers of darkness till we sleep. And this poem is a self-referential villanelle that I wrote to describe what it feels like to remember writing it. And it is called, I Feel the Memory of Writing You. I feel the memory of writing you beginning to carve out its riverbed deep in the shadow of my passing through. How after scanning you beneath, I flew a little lower, how I turned my head. I feel the memory of writing you, my labyrinthine road. I had no clue how to begin or end before I read deep in the shadow of my passing through the story I demanded to be true. In each one of the knots along the thread, I feel the memory of writing you. The moment when I felt your pulse, I knew, And as you slowly found your form, I shed deep in the shadow of my passing through a love song to the love song that you drew with words I'd say to words I hadn't said. I feel the memory of writing you deep in the shadow of my passing through. Next up, I will read a décima, which is a Spanish traditional form, and it's in English. I am an immigrant. And this is called Consolation at Dusk, and it is about my son, my eldest, who's about to leave for boarding school as a soccer player. Consolation at Dusk. I will remain here on the sidelines where each Saturday I witness my son glide over slight tackles with a cocky stride to underscore his skill. There, Father, there. I will sink into some abandoned chair beneath a maple tree as night draws close, and I will find my solace, I suppose, remembering the passes, the roulettes, the back heel flicks, the goals, the calls he gets. No pointing minding how his shadow grows. And finally, I will read with apologies to John Ashbery, a sonnet titled Some Trees. These are the trees that hide what we forget, the light and shadow syntax of that day, the clouded message of the castaway sun through the smoke of one last cigarette. I saw them once the way you saw me then. You saw me once the way I see them now. They know what nobody can disavow. The glare, the twitch, the frown, the how, the when. These are the trees, and how the morning haze, filling the schoolyard that we left behind, yields to the wind that leaves through memory. But this is not exactly the same place. The leaves have turned, the roots have not entwined. This is where you and I, but not where we. Thank you.
Yes, thank you, Pedro. Yeah. All right. Next up is Heather Hughes.
Hello. Thank you to everyone for organizing, bringing us together virtually again for Boston Poetry Marathon. I'm happy to be in this hour of kick-ass readers. And I'm just going to read one long poem. It's an older poem, but it's just kind of where my brain was at this morning. This is called Trash Gyre Wedding. Catering's a bitch, for sure. But imagine the rafts, skips, the yawls of guests, dolly, edging the plastic gyre, our first dance. We rehearse the motion of stars. You lift the lacy film. Dearly beloved, we have consumption here today. Imagine no cake, Florentines, enormous custom-made confectionery flotation devices. Fishes with the funniest fins nibble shreds of the bouquet that drift after the toss. Dearly beloved, we have sickness. Halves don't biodegrade with standard decency. Your mother insists on giving you away this time. Salt upon salt. We politely escape a conversation about post-tsunami radiation, the boneless fish, the reeking heat, our wedding album. Dearly departed, if there are no objections, we spiral until we arrive at this day. The maid of honor paces the wobbling scum, and everyone raises a glass, raises a glass, raises a glass in this place that cannot exist unless we imagine ourselves responsible. My father couldn't make it, what with his bad back. Dearly departed, before these witnesses, a union. I borrowed something to cherish. You chose the tin pan recessional that clatters against the sky. We believe a promise means opposing navigation. Our vows. The groomsmen can't remember how we met. They argue against the viability of fertilization outside the body. On a wavering bridge of sporks, we kiss. And the shakiest aunts heave and curse the refuse. The fish slip deeper. Dearly beloved, we have gathered toxic commonality, our rings. Imagine the ginger ale altar, the bobbing beach bucket centerpieces, the twist, the shout, softer, softer, softer now. Dearly bereaved, how did we come together? Thank you.
Yes, thank you, Heather. Something very quiet but musical pacing about the reading. Next up is Chris Hughes.
Hey, thank you. Thank you for reading that poem, Heather. That was really nice. I'm gonna read, I think, 4 poems. Most of these poems I wrote a few years ago. So here's the first one. It's called Phony. Don't tell me how to write poetry or dictate what my poems say. Don't force my pen or wrists to grow your capital, and don't auction my soul for your own ends. Let me be a phony. Let me abuse drugs in harmony. Let me tell you how I've conquered etiquette. Let me be a heretic. Don't tell me how to write poetry. Show me the way to me. Show me the way to ecstasy. Show me the way to war. Show me the way to oblivion. Let me be blessed in peace. As Sartre said, a writer is not an institution. So please don't tell me how to write poetry. Please let me be a phony. Welcome, babies, to the audience. Thank you. Always nice to have babies in the audience. The next poem is called Melancholy is an Invisible Friend. Melancholy is an invisible friend. Even when he goes, he stays to the end. And when I pretend I don't have shadows, melancholy is an invisible friend. He bleeds with the prick of a pen, like summer rain, black and hollow, he stays to the end. It is as if he is my boyfriend. We even try on each other's clothes. Melancholy is an invisible friend. To his every desire do I attend. My darkest secrets to him I disclose. He stays to the end. He is here again. When I fall low, melancholy is an invisible friend. He stays to the end. This next poem is called Falling into Myself. I fall into myself, and instead of the soft give of your womb I would rest my head on, there is nothing at the bottom but gospel hymns. Still I sing as I fall, a gay god among men, hands clandestine, muscles bronzed, my plush brain. I slip through the atmosphere and descend faster by my density. The gravity of the earth pulls me, gospel hymns deafen me, and even as I free fall, they sound beautiful. Like your specter that is the clouds, constantly changing with the wind. It's fine to die here with you haunting me, drowning on the air I dive in. This is my last poem. Could be my favorite poem. I'll give it a read. It's called The Silence of a Shadow. Is equal to an androgynous length of time, collapsible to be natural enough in streams of consciousness that speckle the sky like light beams of supernovas, dying under towering shades of gray and falling out of love with skyscrapers of your shadow as I walk alone down a black-lit street, indiscriminate in my darkness and starkest incandescence, a walking gerund, chicken scratched into the underground of society, so that a malady can be free from erosion and working class bias, if only to hope by the light of an ancient unnamed star. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Chris. Next up, we have Robert Gamble. There is Robert.
Hi, everybody. Thanks, Christina, Extina, Suzanne, Bridget, all the organizers, readers, listeners. This whole poetic community, it's amazing. And this is a great group to be reading with. I'd like to do 3 poems. The first one is a pretty recent one. It's called Independence Day, and it comes with a epigraph from Jack Gilbert. Loneliness is the mother's milk of America. Dawn fills up cool and quiet, overcast, with wisps of mist roping the river valley, like cotton drawn from the gin. And if the forecast holds, there'll be no stars tonight, barring an utter refabrication of that peculiar American self-love story, where you never have to say you're sorry. And so today we're sandwiched between the anniversaries of the atomic bomb attacks in Hiroshima and Nagasaki. And this poem always sort of floats back to me during this time of year. It's called Hiroshima Tricycle. You alone, hunched in a windowless corner of the stunned atomic museum. Hiroshima Tricycle, your boy is gone, your tires melted, your proud frame fused. Who will guide you through the rubble? And my shadow passes over, the shadow of one who was vaporized on stone. Hiroshima Tricycle, I can tell you only this. The sky outside is as blue and smug as the morning the plane came to drop its gift of sun upon your astonished city. And the black rain fell in greasy sheets, puddling around you. The broken ones drank greedily. It was their last drink. You still welcome us here. It should not be so. It should not be so. And finally, so I've been thinking a lot lately about privilege and toxic masculinity, and particularly as those things are manifested in the poetry of Frederick Seidel, whose work is both fascinating and really repelling. And I was thinking about, and this poem happened. It's pretty recent. It's called You, Frederick Seidel, with apologies to his mentor, Archibald MacLeish. And on a morning most benign, an ordinary summer's day, 3 orbs conspired to align and cast penumbral shadow play. From west to east, a shallow arc across this blessed continent plunged plains and cities into dark, then dragged them back impenitent. In mild Corvallis, birds assumed the shift meant dusk was falling fast. They hushed and roosted in the gloom and rose confused when shadows passed. Across the Tetons, dark caressed and slid into a widening plain. Near Casper, a refinery traced the emptied sun in gouts of flame. On through Nebraska, over pens where hogs and cattle chewed and stared and wondered if their time had come, or wondered if they would be spared. Then dulled St. Louis's silver arch, where coal and ice once trucked through gates, a family's profits on the march to leave you in such high estates. Through Appalachia, then down to Charleston's sultry coastal plain, the shadows slowed, then hung around that church where 9 black folks were slain. Then dissipated off to sea. A trail of dread wound through its wake. You scribe these shadows just like me. We're given more than we should take. Thanks.
Thank you, Robert. 3 more readers. Next up is Ariella Ruth.
Hi, everyone. Thank you so much. I'm so thrilled to be a part of this event again. I always look forward to it so much. And thank you, Bridget, Nextine, and everyone for all the organizers who've just been working around the clock. It's been wonderful to see all this. Thank you so much. I'm just going to be reading one poem, and it's in 4 parts. It's called Not Person, Mother. Baby rocks to sleep. A dark room. Sing Yellow Submarine. Words to hums. John Lennon was killed 40 years ago today. Do mothers typically forget this much? I walked outside last June, carried you unknowingly. There will always be new mothers born, photos untaken. I've forgotten. One can assume line breaks insinuate breath. When water sheds, mother's visibility discarded. Feet press against yours. Almost don't notice. Our identical temperature. Born on feet, I carry you. One can assume mothers do forget. Line breaks, not person. Was killed 40 years ago. In photos. Temperature untaken. New mothers walk outside. I walk outside to insinuate breath in June. When water hums to John Lennon in rooms always unknowingly pressed against. Baby, I've almost forgotten. Years discarded. There will be words sung yellow, visible, noticed. Mother sheds to sleep are identical dark. Today our last. Visible line breaks sing yellow. I've forgotten today unknowingly. Baby hums, a submarine carries mothers all identical, discarded there. Dark water born outside. Do mothers notice sleep? Not person walks this much, always pressed against feet, to rocks. Carry you. Typically, one can assume words were forgotten, killed. Last year untaken, from mother's rooms, breath unshed, almost 40 words ago. Do photos of mothers born break lines? There is yours to hum and kill. I walk and shed rooms, discarded mothers, always lastly visible. Outside in June, our identical water, much darkness, feet submerge. John Lennon's words sing yellow. Unknowingly insinuate forgotten breath. Carry you as new mothers did years ago to sleep. One can assume babies, not person, don't notice. they all forget. Thank you.
All right. Thank you, Ariella. Yeah, our next reader is Gail Slater. There she is.
It's been such a joy to be here this afternoon, and I mean it. So many beautiful images and a lot of heart in the poetry.
Can you
Oh,
put your
sorry.
volume
Oh,
up?
yeah. Is there, yeah, if, like you can get your microphone closer to your mouth, Gail?
Is this better?
A little bit. Try again. Okay, gotta unmute.
Is this better?
Yes.
Okay. All right. This first poem is about childhood summers. We took 2 weeks every June in a dusty one-room cottage, my brother Gus and I bickering over the top bunks as our birthright. Little Nancy, covering her ears, got stuck on the bottom opposite our parents. The three of us were up and out egg jailbreak, a cinnamon toast in each hand. In all-day games of pirate, we joined the kids from the trailer park, sketching treasure maps in the mud and sand. We turned freckly and peeling from salt and windburn in the scant bit of sunshine. For supper, my mother cooked B&M beans on a camp stove. Afterwards, my father sent us to Lynch's for ice creams. We'd come back to find Ma sitting on his lap, her head leaning into the curve of his neck, looking out of the water, her smile dreamy. He'd wind her hair around his free hand so the sea breeze wouldn't whip it into her ice cream. I waited all year to see them look like that. This next poem was written when winter was dissolving into spring. And when I looked up, I saw on my screen 100 words. So that's the title, 100 words. My day begins in moonlight. I smell a wind shift lifting blades of grass from somewhere, skipping over stones surrounding my heart. I am so glad of this. Let us shelter in anticipation of lightning. Come with me to the edge of tears, where candles gutter but stay lit, casting a protective light over blue-iced holiday storefronts. Let's gather our friends. We have places to get to now that the streets are cleared of snow. Let us go full tilt. That way we'll never crash. My head is bursting with flowers. My final poem is about forgiveness and about a celebratory drink some of you may have tasted from time to time called Cristal. After you forgave me, we drank Cristal from paper cups. Across the lot, the tide dragged in whitecaps to spray the windshield with suds. Gulls sought out sea clams tossed among the rocks and dropped them on the tarmac from a height. Your soft words circled mine like tidal pools, their velocity dispelled. Fantasies melted like thin rain gone to mist. The sea had threatened, but done nothing. The enormity of what we had done silenced us. I walked the shore in a fizzle of rain, the riptide having left long indentations along the rippled flats. I imagined how good the new us would be, how good we will be. A little spent, but heady, like champagne. That's all.
Thanks, Gail. Cristal sounds a lot better than cold coffee, which is what I'm drinking at the moment. That's fine. Our last reader for this hour is Meredith Arena.
Hi, can everyone hear me okay?
Yep.
All right, thanks so much for the organizers. I'm so happy to be here for my first time. I'm gonna read a couple of poems. Some of them are about growing up in Staten Island. This first one is about, is imagining my grandmother. a cool breeze, and Grandma Josephine. She pushes the hem, her skin sticky, her face flushed, letting her thoughts follow the line. Patterns of traffic below her window zip and lull like tides. She checks the edge, nice, neat. Heat lifts from First Avenue in thick sheets, fabric pools and straightens in her grip. What did she do to refresh herself? Cool cloth on the nape of her neck, a long sigh and maybe a tisk or repeated phrase, not a complaint, but a wry kiss to God for the day. And then a lovely gust, a breeze comes up to freshen the bare flesh of her arm, her knees. Kinging. In middle school, my best friend had a stomach ache and didn't go to school for a year. So many girls in Staten Island had similar aches. To cure mine, I went to school in Manhattan. The city was regular then, cruddy. Everyone said the city and meant something else, something they had heard from their uncle or saw in a movie, a fear, a longing, for me, a cure. I like to hear Liza Minnelli say King of the Hill in the song New York, New York. She sings with urgency, like maybe she herself is not sure the next note will ever come or if she will be king. Staten Island is a place here, not a metaphor for backwardness or isolation. It is a place where we posed like goddesses for each other, unironic, beautiful sculptures of hair, oceans swelling over our dark brows. Sinatra's version is smooth, seemingly controlled, while Minnelli bites down and growls. The tune is ripped from her throat as cabs painting their yellow down 7th Avenue. Here, Manhattan is a place I wanted to go, not a metaphor for starting over. I grew up on the Sinatra version, and at home in my living room, how I writhed my torso back and forth to it, flung out my arms, releasing my grip on the invisible mic, how big I became, unaware of violence, body open to all those avenues. And across that body of water, those bridges, all those unknown Lizas, belting their big town blues, kinging themselves, singing straight from that place, that ache in their bellies, their futures, their throats. The white girls with dark frizzy hair. We were common opals, our eyelids milky blue, jagged resin hiding iridescence. We were auditioning to be ourselves, not Yankee girls, not summer girls. We were mixtapes with long pauses and snippets of the DJ's voice. We applied eyeliner, doubled up scrunchies, spoke with sharp tongues, bent our words into boomerangs and flung them outward. They sparked on the wind, luminescent. This one's called Pink Threat. You drive somewhere and return with a sandwich bag filled halfway with pink salt. Its mass makes it look like rose goo. As I approach, I wonder, is it fleshy like the salmon you caught? You didn't post a picture of your new body or newly dead sockeye. The men do that. And my father looks tremendous in a salmon-colored shirt. And you tell me the salt is for curing, is toxic. And then I see its mass, its multitude, a pink pile of grains, not violent at all. And then this is my last one after C.A. Conrad. There is no time to talk to crystals, ghosts, or clouds, or crows already crowing as eyes are opening. One beat, one possible moment, a bird song the length of this line, then the thud thud on the chest, nervous system, alarm clocking, put down that dream. Stop gazing at puddlescapes. Don't follow moss lines or fiddleheads. Don't caress the roots of splayed leeks. Master this ignoring. The dead won't speak unless you allow it. Thank you.
Thank you, Meredith. Thank you to everybody. if you want to put me in grid view so everybody could see everybody, or I could do that myself. How about that? There we go. Perhaps that'll work.
No, I have to do it because
Okay.
I've got the live stream. But yeah, we're all good. We're back to grid view.
Excellent. Thank you to our readers of this past hour, Casey Fallon, Sherry Kaplan, Pedro Poitevin, Heather Hughes, Chris Hughes, Robert Gamble, Ariella Ruth, Gail Slater, Meredith Arena. And up in the next hour, we have Joe. Well, we've got other people. Hopefully everyone's will be here. Joe Elliott, Christy Towers, Maria Luisa Arroyo, Pamela Bailey Powers, Simeon Berry, Jonathan Bennett Vanilla, Pam Metz, Suzanne O'Toole, April March Penn, Oni Buchanan, and actually what I want to mention the most is we have exceeded our donation goal for racial justice of Black Lives Matter and Stop Asian Hate.
Almost. We're $50 away. We're $50 away from
okay, we're
our
$50
goal.
away.
So.
But so that's so close that somebody out there will whip out their wallet. Not me right this second, actually. I got other things to do. But yes, whip out your wallet and donate and let us hit the threshold. Thank you to everybody. We're going to end the live stream.
And if everyone wants to unmute and say bye, you're welcome to do that right now. If everyone wants to unmute and say bye.
Bye.
Thanks, everyone.
Everybody. Wonderful reading.
Readers, you can hang out for a second.